Welcome to the podcast Lead the Future, the Alt Summer Series. Each podcast, I will ask 3 panelists an authentic leadership transformation question. In short, an Alt question. This Alt question was part of the Alt Summit's second panel discussion titled Find New Language to Create the Future. I'm Arjan Visser, a human-centered futurist, and I'm your host. The call to lead from the inside out is inseparable from the language we choose. The words we speak are not mere descriptions of our world, they are generative and acts that shape our reality. They become the architecture of our future identity. In these conversations, we explore how to find, own, and embody the very language that calls your authentic future into being. How to step into the one thing you are called to create. Once your voice begins to emerge, the journey turns towards convergence. How do you step into the one thing you are called to create amidst all the noise? This conversation moves from the theory to courageous action, exploring how articulating your unique purpose gives it an unstoppable momentum. It is about distilling all you are into the one person you are truly called to become. Let me briefly introduce my 3 panelists. Benj Street, a serial entrepreneur and innovation accelerator. Benj is the leader who creates experiences, asks bold questions, leads by example, and is always believing there are greater things or more and better things are possible. His passion lies in shaping businesses that make space for leaders to step up and for teams to step into their core identity, unlocking the full potential and stretching their vision of what is possible. Secondly, Deb Brown Maher, an eliminator of authenticity. She believes that everyone benefits when we are free to discover, activate, and actively live our true selves. Her core premise is simply yet powerful. When individuals embrace who they truly are, they are not only unlocking their own potential, but also contribute to culture, mutual respect, honor, and encouragement. Shane Pope, an international business director, and maybe even more interesting, he's a facilitator of the convergence of personal and professional life. Shane is on a mission to redefine businesses as a deep personal endeavor rooted in identity, purpose, and impact. He challenges leaders to see their work not just as a means to an end, but as a force for good that unlocks the potential in themselves and those around them. I hear a lot in conversation with potential clients or are we peers or not peers conversations, go beyond the coffee chat, that it's quite hard to find out what is the right thing for you to do. What are you called to do? Of course, there is a lot of people, but they're not the forerunners. They're more like the other side of the bell curve. They're probably happy in following when someone else creates the path, and that's good. It's especially good to know if you're a forerunner, a follower, an early adopter, or not. There is no judgment in which one you are. But for forerunners, there is this search in figuring out what's the one thing I'm called to do. And if we look through history to the people that are known most of the times after they died of their great impact, they focused on one thing. They ignored all the other things that are good to do. They figured out amidst all the good things what was the one thing, the right thing for them to do. Which is a hard question because you have to battle your ego and all the other stuff, which is your own insecurity, and you have to know from the inside what we talked about, truly who you are. So my question to you, and starting with that, how do you step How do you step into the one thing? Let's call it the one thing you are called to create. How do you step into that?
Finding out what it is first step. But realizing that each one of us has a passion that burns in our heart. It's not a head thing, it's a heart thing. And sometimes, well, often we override our heart because we have to get things done. We have obligations, there are expectations. If we will slow down and actually listen to our heart's desire, that's the biggest clue that we have as to what we were made to do. And the actual working out of that thing can happen in a multitude of settings. It's never just one setting, it's a multitude of settings. It's that unique characteristic or set of characteristics that each person carries, that when we tap into and fully express, that is being our authentic self. That is showing up without any mask, without arrogance, but also not being concerned about how someone else is going to judge me. Having the conviction, the confidence to just be who I was made to be. And then observe what happens to others, to the atmosphere, to the culture, to the organization. Observe and get back into that feedback loop. Was I authentic? Did I see the result, the fruit that I actually believe I should have been able to produce? And when I do see it, to celebrate and to remind myself going forward so that I never succumb to the pressure that will always be there, the pressure to conform, the pressure to go with the flow, to get with somebody else's program. So it really comes back to recognizing what is that passion inside of me that burns until I release it. It's begging to be released. That's where I think it starts.
Thank you. Mm. You said so much. I have to listen to the replay. That's super interesting. So, Shane, help me out. What's your take on this question? How do you step into living, being, doing, acting the one thing you are created? You're called to create.
It's a great question, Arjan, and I think it really builds on the previous question around clarity and ownership, because I can have 100 thoughts in my head, 100 ideas there, and they can all sort of occupy the one space and they don't really cost me a lot. But as soon as I try to articulate and use words, and same idea as writing it down, I have to choose. I'm going to say this and I'm not going to say that. We have to start filtering and placing an importance on, okay, what is the most important thing? I have these 100 things I could do, but what's the one that I'm going to articulate and express? And it really gets me to think about it, because if I express this, I don't express that. And then if I've expressed this, now I have to sort of take ownership and step into that thing that I've now articulated. So I think exactly what we're talking about, is finding this new language, almost is an acceleration, a propelling step in itself. It's like the first step, and now I can move forward into that thing because I've set 99 other things aside so that I can pursue this one thing that I'm articulating and expressing. And I think that coupled with that is what we've been talking about, is doing that, because it's pretty unlikely, I think, that you're going to get it right the first time. Like we've been talking about, it takes some time to explore and journey into this thing. And so to be able to do that in the context of a supportive group of peers who can help you figure out, that was good, but it didn't really feel like the one thing. It didn't really. I think there's a resonance that comes when you find that right language, and it resonates with who you are. It resonates with the people that you're speaking to, and that in itself kind of creates this energy and power and momentum that can help to propel you forward into that thing, so that it becomes more than just you and what you can generate within yourself, but there's sort of a synergy and a convergence and an energy that comes through the expression of that language. So it's really engaging in some of these practices that we've been talking about. I think it is crucial and really helpful in propelling us forward into that one thing that we're made to do.
Thank you. Benj.
He's thinking about it. I think there's a delay on his end.
Yeah, there's a delay on this end. Yeah. So.
Or he's really given us some thought. One or the other.
I think he's coming with a great answer. So Benj, what would be your?
Sorry, there was a lag. I think. So I totally agree with both Deb and Shane's answers. I would put it as, actually, I don't think there's one thing that I'm called to create. I think there's one thing or one person that I'm called to be. So for me, it's from a process, it's much more about working on the identity piece, which then enables you to effectively, to Shane's resonance point, identify your frequency. And then when you're encountered with different things that you could do, you're then empowered to see where the resonance is and where is the similar frequencies. And that's what accelerates you. I shared with you a few weeks ago, I had an experience where for a couple of years now, I've been using the language. I'm an innovation accelerator, and I walked out of a meeting and suddenly felt like I was slapped around the face because I'd just been leading an innovation workshop for a large global organization, and I hadn't even clocked on me that somehow I'd been invited to help run this, just because I've been starting to use this language that I had experimented with. So experimentation is absolutely key to it. For me, that language that describes my identity then grows into the language that helps create the stuff that I want to see around me. And that's where the resonance comes. And as I gain confidence and authority in that internal identity piece, it resonates with other people I meet with, and suddenly I'm invited into the new areas and end up doing and being able to create things that were beyond the horizon that I saw. But the experience was weird because what I'd seen was beyond, or was at the next horizon, suddenly to then go, actually, I'm right here. This future I've imagined, okay, it's not quite the same, but I'm standing here. And then the temptation is, well, do I just, set up a great big tent and, sit back and lavish? No, I want to see what's next. if I measure, like Shane was saying, that language has given me the ability to see where I've come from, because I know when I first started using that language, and to see that growth over the last 2 years, that then gives me the excitement, the hope, to see what could the shape be from the next tree that I'm going to plant. What is that 30-year, 50-year, 100-year horizon of the impact of the stuff that I'm speaking into today, tomorrow, next week?
The dialogue doesn't end here. It's your invitation to continue the journey. I invite you to engage with your own insights below, or to step directly into the Alt Forum with us. The Alt Forum is our weekly, thought-provoking space for the forerunners, forward-thinking leaders and pioneers who are ready to catalyze their authentic leadership transformation. I will share how you can experience this powerful forum first and decide later. The link is in the description. Just use it and book your own experience. The link is alt.businessrevivalist.com/forum. I wrote down quite some gemstones that I picked up from this episode, and I tried to keep it brief. The first one I wrote down is: the only thing you're called to create starts with a hard thing, not a head thing. Authentic creation is not born in strategy decks or vision boards. It's born in the quiet truth of inner passion, waiting to be honored and expressed. A radical, simple starting point is listen to your heart. Another one is release the pressure to find the one place. Focus on expressing the one thing in many places. Deb reframes calling as a core essence than rather a fixed job title or career. You bring your calling wherever you go, and when you do, culture shifts. Shane continues with the gemstone: articulating the one thing is the first act of commitment and cost. Shane continues with expressing your calling isn't free. It demands clarity, sacrifice, and ownership. Language filters distraction. Speaking it creates forward motion. Resonance reveals the right frequency and accelerates impact. When your language and identity align, others feel it. Resonance becomes your strategic amplifier. The cue that you are finally speaking your core. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a peer cycle where your ideas meet resistance and refinement. Clarity comes from community-based feedback. This echoes earlier themes. Safe spaces where vision is tested and language is shaped are essential for real momentum. It's not just one thing you're called to create. It's one person you're called to become. Benj drops the paradigm shift. It's not output first, it's identity first. Knowing your frequency lets you recognize aligned opportunities and repels the wrong ones. Creation flows from self-clarity. New language turns into new invitations before you even realize it. Language is not just expressive, it's generative. When you speak from identity, doors open. You don't chase, you attract. Momentum meets alignment. Speak from future identity until reality catches up. This is a practical application of visionary leadership. Begin naming what's not fully visible yet, and you will find yourself becoming it. Vision is not a destination, it's a North Star for your voice. The pressure to conform will always be there. Remember what burns in you. Every visionary will face external expectation. This is a call to return to your inner fire again and again, especially when it's at the hardest. I want to thank the panelists, Benj, Deb, and Shane, for their richness, their deep insights, their vulnerability, and the wisdom they shared with us. I also like to thank you for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to read your insights, your comments, your questions, and I really want to urge you to step into who you are becoming. And the best way that I can help you is to invite you to experience the alt form, the place for forerunners, forward thinking, feedback loops. So I give you the link. It's in the description. And use this link to just plan, schedule, book your experience. Join the alt form, experience it first, decide later. The link is alt.businessrevivalists.com/forum.